Okay, hello everyone. A lot of people have asked me about Sephiroth and the Sephiroth changes from January of this stream, this recent stream. I was kind of happy and really hyped when I saw they were changing Sephiroth, but as time went on and I was looking at the changes, I started to be a little bit more skeptical, and I have reached the conclusion that this is kind of like a mixed bag. I honestly don't know how to feel about this entirely. I feel good from one hand, and I don't feel so good on the other hand, especially because they fucking nerf Heaven Slide again. But you know what, we'll get into that in a moment. Well, not in a moment because this is 30 minutes, but still. We are gonna go over all the changes that they have done on Sephiroth. I'm gonna more or less give my opinion on it. You don't really have to agree with me, right? I have been maining Sephiroth since like release, so I have a lot of experience with him, so this is kind of like my take on it. You can agree, you can disagree. So if you have anything, you can like post it on on YouTube, on my Twitter as well, or on Reddit, because I will try to post this everywhere. So if you wanna discuss anything Sephiroth related with this video, just let me know and we can talk about it. Anyway, now with that said, let's gonna start with the attacks. Let's start from the neutrals, and we'll leave the HPs for the last, and then we'll go with Jenova for last place. Alright, so let's go. Alright, so we're gonna start with Sephiroth's neutral, Telluric Fury and Imperium Wrath in the air. They're pretty much the same attack. And what they are doing, the biggest quality of life, in my opinion, one of the biggest buffs that he's gonna get here is how he can sidestep out of his attacks, because it used to be very slow, and as we can see here, it's minus 18 frames. That's a huge deal, from minus 18 to minus 6 depending on the attack. We can see like on the fourth hit is minus 6, but even then it's fine. It's gonna be a big deal. This is like one of the reasons why Sephiroth was so punishable with neutral, was because he just could not sidestep out of it in time. So this is definitely a big deal, one of my favorite changes here. Now they are, as you can see on this part, it says that it's on first hit and it's like +2, +3, +4, but that's fine because that's on top of it. It's on top of the minus 18 and minus 17, so it's still negative compared to before. Now we go here to Imperium Wrath. It's pretty much the same thing. There's a couple of frames here and there. The biggest difference being that the fourth hit is minus 17 frames compared to 6. That aside, it's pretty much more or less the same. We can see on the guards that kind of similar. So yeah, it's pretty much more or less the same. The JDC timing is being unchanged. The only bad thing here is that you will get 3 more frames if you don't dash cancel. So you're kind of like getting punished for no dash canceling. That aside, you are fine. And when we say here that you will no fall down, I will explain that later on. That's one of the changes that they did. It's not a big deal, but we're gonna look at it pretty soon. Just check out this. Now this is what they were showing on the stream, and you can see the sidestep is ridiculous, how fast he can sidestep. Even if he hits the enemy, it's really fast. As we saw there, accidentally he hit the person. But I could make like a side-to-side comparison, but let's be honest, the difference is clear. Now I'm gonna show you in a moment what we have on the PS4 right now, so you can get an idea. Alright, so by looking at this, I'm pretty sure you guys can feel those 17, 18 frames, how heavy those are, and how it's a big deal for Sephiroth, because this is definitely his most unsafe move of all, so it's really helpful for us, the people who play Sephiroth. This is not going to address people literally jumping or being under Sephiroth and him just whiffing because the hitbox has not been changed, but at least if we miss, which you know is very likely with this attack, at least we can get out of it earlier than usual, so it's actually a big deal. Okay, so next up we have his forward attack, you know, the horizontal swing. I'm not even gonna fucking bother to try to pronounce that name because my English is really terrible, but you know, that one. So On the plus side, we're getting 0.5 vertical degrees of tracking, or like verticality, aiming, however you want to call it. Does this mean that the meme of Sephiroth verticality is gonna be over? Probably not. 0.5 is probably definitely not enough for the meme to be over. But I guess it's something. At least you won't like give people many haircuts this time. Like you won't like literally be over Shantoro maybe. We don't know about this. I will personally have to test this myself because I don't think by looking at footage I'm gonna get a little of an idea. We will look at footage in a moment, but 0.5, hey, I appreciate it though. That's completely fine. That's great. Now, we also have the thing where it says that we won't fall down. I said this before, right, on the neutral one, right? We're gonna see what they mean in a moment. However, on the bot side, we have 2 and 3 frames when doing this attack, as in when you dash cancel. No JDC, just normal dash cancel. And when you are setting up with the first hit. Now, usually, this is actually not a big deal because it's only like 2 and 3 frames, and honestly you shouldn't be setting up with this attack, and if you do, you probably have like your teamwork on point with one of your teammates, so you're like an absolute madman, and if you're an absolute madman, 3 frames are not gonna stop you, right? So the nerfs are it's 2 and 3 frames. I can live with that. That's not a big deal. Alright, so let's look at the arcade footage real quick. Now they're gonna show us here on the arcade footage, by giving Call a new haircut, the new tracking of Sephiroth forward there, which as you can see is actually pretty good. If we compare it to the one we have on the PS4 right now, which you're gonna guys see in a moment, you can tell more or less the difference here. Alright, so we are here now, and we more or less do the same that they do here. So if we do a double jump, obviously it's not gonna hit. But that is the problem. That is the 0.5 angle buff here. That is what it's gonna fix. The inconsistency when you are up, and sometimes it doesn't hit like that, but other times it does, like that. So that is the big problem with this attack. You may or may not give Cloud or anyone else a new haircut. So that's the problem. Now the other thing we were talking about being in the air is that you see in a moment how Sephiroth stands like that, a lot in the air. They're gonna decrease that so you fall down easier. You are not gonna be suspended in the air for so long. But yeah, that's pretty much the thing they're gonna fix. Oh my fucking god. Okay. Thank god they're fixing this, because that is really disgusting. Oh my fucking god. Anyway, I was gonna clarify a little bit more the thing about being in the air after you attack. As you can see, this is actually not a big deal, but this will apply to both neutral and forward. So you can see how he's gonna be less time in the air. That's the change. Okay, so we're entering the Shadow Flare realm right now, and to be honest, there's not a lot to talk about this. It's just 10 frames faster, which, you know, might actually be helpful, especially for your teammates, because there's usually 3 ways, or like 3 instances where you, for the most part, use Shadow Flare. One is, for the most part, when you want to get your teammate out of trouble, but it's like, for example, really up in the air, right? And because of verticality memes, your melee attacks are just not gonna make it, or maybe Sunshine is not gonna make it, which we'll talk about that later. And you may actually be able to save him with Shadow Flare, which might push 1 or 2 people away, or even 3 sometimes if they're like all grouped together. So it's a good way to like get people away from your teammates. Probably not for yourself, because, you know, that's really bad. It's still too slow for like use it on yourself. The other instance is to like break the core in a very safe way. This is the safest way of breaking the core, especially now with 10 frames faster, right? And the other one is when you have a fucker using Wide War Pyroclasm, but that's another story for another time, and you usually won't see that on higher level, right? So, you know, that one won't apply. So let's look at the arcade match real quick. Alright, so we're gonna see on the arcade how the particle effects end 11 frames earlier. The reason it's why it's 10 frames is because we have 1 frame of startup that is there. That's why it just 10 frames. So there's no lot to explain here. You can really see it. Could be this more helpful in the future? Probably yes. We'll have to experiment with it a little bit. Now it's not as trashy as before, so we'll see. Alright, so now we have Sanshin here, which it's a mixed bag. On one hand, I like it, and the other one I don't, but I don't know, it's a weird thing. So, we can start with the good part, right? -4 frames of startup, can't go wrong with that, you know, that's great. The time between its slash is shorter. Now, this could be like, but that's a good thing, right? Yes, it is, so it's kind of like a buff, but also, that also removes some time from you being able to set up your teammate, because at least like, if you have a marksman and you're like on voice chat or something, you could use Sanshin to set up someone with the first 2 projectiles, and your marksman can land a search HP or just any HP in general to pick it up, and it's a very safe setup from you as Sephiroth because you don't even have to get in, so you know, it's pretty neat. But with this, that won't be as likely, or it will be harder, so that sucks. But you know what, I guess being less time gliding, it's better on the long run, so you know, I'm not that upset about that. It's more like my opinion on that, right? That's just my preference. Now we also have the thing where it will fall down faster because it won't wait for the entire animation to end, so it will fall faster, as we explained before on the forward air part. And this is the nerfs, right? Now we have range decrease -2 meters. I don't know why the fuck they did this. I don't know who like on Square Enix offices thought that this had like a lot of range or something, so they removed 2 meters. I mean, it's whatever, but I'm scratching my head on this. I don't know why they did this. Projectile size decrease -1.5. Now, I know what they did this, right? Because this is a problem that Sephiroth has with this attack, and is when he's too close to the ground, the projectile is so tall, like vertical wise, it's so high that it will collide to the ground before it even lands. And that's the main problem, so that's why they fixed this. They gave you more verticality and they made it smaller height-wise, so it won't be as easy to collide with the floor. And I'm gonna show you guys what this is. Okay, so now this is current patch, and as you can see, sometimes it collides with the floor if you are too close to the ground, right? Like that. So it's very inconsistent due to how tall the projectile is. So how the projectile is posted on the ground, as soon as it gathers the floor, like that. That happens a lot of times, especially if you're like, for example, in Cornelia or on uneven terrain. It's harder to explain on a flat map like that, but if you're like on a map like Narsh or Cornelia, this happens a lot, so this fixes it. So this is what they show on the arcade stream, right? And you're probably gonna be like, ah, that's actually not that different, and it really isn't, right? It's like, I don't know how to feel about that. I don't like those 2 meter range nerf, but it doesn't, it's not that noticeable. It's like, it's a mixed bag, so I guess you can call it an adjustment, right? It's more or less the same. I don't think you guys are gonna notice that much of a difference. I mean, you will, right? But you know, it's fine, it's whatever, it's an adjustment. Oh boy, here we go, our favorite attack. It got fucking nerfed again. For those that follow me on Twitter probably know that the first nerf I was not really a fan of.
Okay, let me check it out again, because this is too... Oh my god! Like, I swear to fucking god, what is this? No! I can't, like, even the dash cancel is fucked because I can't... Oh my god, I can't believe this shit. It's fucking disgusting. Lambda, it's called Heaven's Light because it goes upwards. This is not upwards, this is fucking disgusting. What is this? What the fuck is that?
Like, yeah, Heaven's Light is his best attack. It's pretty much his bread and butter. It's the way he works. That's like the attack that you're gonna use the most as Sephiroth, but because he's his best attack, I think that will be the main reason why you don't nerf it. Like, Sephiroth in its current state needs help, not nerfs. And it's not like Heaven Slide is hard to react or sidestep, so you are making that sidestep even worse for like Sephiroth, right? So basically what they're doing here is not even that much of a nerf, but it sucks. Like, okay, 1 frame startup, well fuck it, okay, whatever. But the worst part here is not the hitbox decrease, which I honestly can't tell you, and no footage of the arcades is gonna tell us how is that hitbox gonna go. But 0.7 meters, hopefully that's not bad enough, we'll have to see. But tracking before the attack decrease, that means, so to explain it real quick, when you do an attack, your attack will have tracking for a specific amount of time. Let's say your attack lasts, like, for example, 2 seconds. So the first second your attack is tracking, and as soon as that second is off, when the opponent sidesteps, you will miss that attack, right? So basically you are giving here more window for the enemy to sidestep out of Heaven Slide, and I don't think that's the problem here. Like, I am pretty sure that is not a problem with Heaven Slide. Heaven Slide is really easy to see. It's a dash attack. Dash attacks have a lot of startups. Like, you can see Heaven Slide coming. That's not a problem. I don't know. Like, maybe I'm biased here, right? Because I'm in Sephiroth, but I feel this unnecessary. Like, the first nerf, you know, that was like months ago, that Twitter video, you know. I was also like, you know, playing along a little bit. But okay, that one could maybe be necessary, I don't know. But this one I don't think this one was needed. Like, I'm gonna put some footage of the arcade here in the background, but that's not gonna tell us anything. So yeah, this is what pissed me off the most on this thing. This is the main reason why I'm conflicted about this, can we call it soft rework, this balance patch for Sephiroth. I don't like this at all. I kinda wanna have the update soon to try to like get used to it, but oh man, I don't like this at all. So anyway, let's move on to the next attack, shall we? Let's not ramble too much about Heaven Slide here. Alright, now Hell's Gate. This is a fucking mess to explain, but you can see here on the video that there's a lot of things change. To sum it up, we can say that they made lightweight Hell's Gate, in the sense of like, it goes down faster, you can recover from it faster, but the hitbox and the poise is like less time. So basically it's faster Hell's Gate, doesn't have as much as a hitbox duration. They increase the hitbox a little bit upwards, as you can see here on the buffs. So it's, I don't know how to feel about this. I honestly can't tell, because it's good to have like a fast Hell's Gate, right? Even if you like fucked it up, because the problem with Hell's Gate right now is like, if you ruin it, you are there for a while, especially because it's a dunk, and dunks are easier to search. So being actually able to go down faster is a benefit for you, because that's less time, for example, a marksman has to react to search you. So overall, I think it's good for experimentation. I think I wouldn't say this is good or bad. I will have to give it a go and see how it goes. It's pretty much faster lightweight Hell's Gate, so I don't know, can't really say something bad about it. It's something that we have to give a go. So I'm neutral on this one, probably the most neutral on it. I'm curious. I guess curious is the best description I can have for this. Although now that I think about it, the only way you could think this is a nerf is if you are like get good pro player and you land the JDC all the time. So let's say you always land the JDCs, you wouldn't need a faster Hell's Gate. So this is pretty much like a buff if you miss the JDC. So you could have like, oh, but if you were good at Sephiroth, you will never miss the JDC, so this is a nerf. So if you see it that way, then two things: one, fuck you, and two, no one lands Hellscape 100% of the time. So take it as you will, you know, just however you wanna see it. Alright, now we're getting to the good shit. Now, all the HPs have been buffed across the board, so we're not gonna get any more nerfs. This is gonna be all good stuff. No, nothing negative from now on. Alright, so we're gonna start with Scintilla. Now, Scintilla, starting off, we're getting 5 frames of startup. Now, you may ask yourself, hey, can I now maybe do it without the JDC? And the answer is probably no. I didn't test it myself because I'm not in the arcades, but if you guys remember from before, we got extra frames from failing a JDC. For example, on neutral, we got extra 4 frames. So this means this is gonna be completely nullified. This will actually be only better if you do a JDC. So you will get a faster Scintilla if you JDC, but if you don't, it will be more or less the same stuff. Now, the other thing they did is like they shortened the time between the first and the second hit, which means less time on the same place and less chances of getting punished. So that's great. Now, one of the most important things, they fixed a little bit of the tracking, vertical angle 5 degrees. And more importantly, the ground version will also go up as well. You won't be stuck on the ground. This is great. This is amazing. Scintilla really needed this. I don't know if I will buff Scintilla a little more, but you know what? This is a start. You know what? I'm okay with this. I wish it had a little bit more, but that's fine. Now, the only thing we got bad from Scintilla is that they decrease the range when blocking something, which sucks. But I think this was the HP which have like most of the range, so okay, I guess that's fine. It kind of sucks, but you know what, that's fine. Getting a more consistent Scintilla without blocking, I think it's what we need right now, so you know what, that's fine. Alright, let's check the arcade footage right now. Alright, so in this instance I did a side-by-side comparison. Sadly it's 30 FPS because that's how their stream went, but I think you guys can get more or less an idea of how faster it is now. I slow it a little bit down. I also show me going over the enemy, and we can see the one on the arcade actually hits, but mine doesn't. Okay, now we go for Hairless Angel, which, you know, is actually a very important HP for Sephiroth. Now, they didn't show this HP on stream, but basically, they shortened the time facing the target, they decreased the startup by 3 frames, and according to them, changed the motion for the hitbox. This could be maybe the way he swings, there's no details on this. They increased the vertical range by 5 degrees, which you guys can more or less get an idea of how it went by looking at the Scintilla one, right? And they changed the hitbox. Now, I managed to get footage from a guy playing on the arcades, so we are gonna compare it to that and see how it goes. Alright, so on the left we have on the arcades, and I think we can tell that by mixing both the startup frames that have been removed and the fact that he will be facing the enemy less time before landing the attack, it's gonna make Hairless Angel overall way faster, as we can see over here. Now, this is gonna be actually maybe make the most important HP for Sephiroth after this. Sadly, I don't have any footage of like Sephiroth whiffing, so we can see the power of like the angle, but I think by looking at the Scintilla one, we can more or less get an idea. So hopefully that works for you. Alright, so now we're going with Black Materia, which, you know, is the most memed HP of the game because, you know, for how bad it is. Now, I don't have any footage of anyone playing this on the arcades, I wonder why. So we'll kind of have to like take the developer's word on this one. So what they say is like they changed the startup, cancel timings change, So I'm going to assume we can like sidestep out of it or like dash out of it faster, which, you know, that's cool. No details on this. And lands 5 frames faster. And apparently on long range or something like that, you can make it a true combo. Or maybe not a true combo, but maybe not be able to sidestep out of it unless you teleport, you know, that kind of stuff, like wide angle particle beam. Apparently that's a thing you can do from a wall rush. We don't have a lot of details on this, but apparently this is a thing you can do. If I ever find footage of this, I will probably post it on my Twitter and let everyone know. But I think it will be actually very funny or slash interesting to see a search HP that it's like wall rush. I think that will actually make black materia viable. Maybe I'm being a little bit crazy here, right? But I think I'm very interested in this one actually, because I want to see how that actually is the thing that you can like actually wall rush from it from a certain distance or something like that. I don't know. I want more information on this, so hopefully we get some madman playing black materia on the arcade soon. Now our last HP here is Octaslash. Octaslash has been known for being the best HP from Sephiroth when it comes to tracking, because he goes up and down unlike his other HPs. This is the only HP that does not fall in the verticality meme. However, it's really punishable, so I guess what they're doing here is actually make it even easier to land, especially when it's under you. So they're gonna give really good tracking 4 degrees under you. So I guess they're trying to equalize the amount of up and down that you can go when you are doing HP on someone, because I had the feeling it's already around 4 degrees on the top. So I think they're putting like 5 degrees on top and 5 on the bottom, more or less. I can't really say, because I have not found anyone doing an Octaslash under someone. So that is more or less what I can imagine. So they're making a current HP that is pretty good. They're making it even better. Sadly, you can still get punished really easily, so that does not solve that much of the problem. So I guess they're making this HP more entry level Sephiroth, like even more. Like if you don't play Sephiroth very often, this is gonna make it life even easier for you. I mean, Octaslash, don't get me wrong, is still a very good HP. I pick it sometimes. It's just like, you have to commit to it, so that's what makes it dangerous, especially like on tournament levels and stuff. So that's what makes me not pick it up on tournaments, but still a very good HP. I will recommend it, especially on big maps. I will not recommend Octaslash on small maps at all. Now for the comparison of Octaslash, it's barely there. It's 3 frames. I'm looking at 30 FPS footage, so you can more or less tell it's there, but it's really hard to notice. So if you look closer, you can tell that the one on the arcade, it's a little bit early, but I don't think we can get anything better than this. So this is probably the best we're gonna get. But yeah, pretty much 3 frames faster and has more verticality. Now for the verticality part, I found an interesting part, which is this one, which he hit from a steal, and that Octaslash actually landed. Now Octaslash by itself has a decent verticality, so I can't really try this myself on the PS4 because it's not something I can recreate with bots, but I have the feeling that will not hit on the PS4 on NT. So that 0.5 angle upwards kind of like help out to like get that Octaslash, or that's how I feel at least. And last but not least, we have the EX skill, Jenova. Yes, they changed this a little bit. They gave us like a lot of frames for like sidestepping out of it or like dashing, which is great, because you get stuck there for a long while doing Jenova. So that's great. Not only that, but something that I am pretty sure no one expected, you can JDC out of Jenova. I mean, I'm not angry or upset this is great, right? Like, you can JDC out of an EX skill, but This seems like a very situational thing, like very specific. It's not something you are gonna like use on a regular basis, basically because you can only do this like twice on the match. Maybe you just fucking miss it, right? So it's like, ah, fuck it. Well, even if you miss it, you still have like minus 25 frames, so you know that's still cool. Now, the only way I can think of using this is, for example, usually Sephiroth leads the charge on the team because you maybe go with like an aggressive team composition, so you kind of want to like lead the charge, like lead the aggression as Sephiroth, so it's gonna be easier to like put up Jenova and go on someone starting off with a JDC than with a normal dash, right? So you have like that little advantage. That aside, the only other thing I can think of is to poise through an assassin that is attacking you. So maybe, let's say someone is, like Sedan, is doing neutral on you. You Jenova, you JDC out of it, you turn around and then you wall rush him. That is some like 200 IQ bullshit that you can pull off with this. I think. I have not tried it myself yet, sadly. But I think this could be one of those things that doesn't seem that useful, but you can like fucking do like a very nice play with it. I will want to see what we can do with this. Like, maybe some Japanese players pull some cool shit. Maybe I managed to do something cool with it. Maybe someone does. I think it's something that we can look forward to and see, you know, experiment with it. Nothing wrong with this at all. I welcome this change, something I really did not expect. And hopefully I pull it off at some moment where, you know, it makes me win the game or something, but it seems very situational and specific, but still looking forward to it, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, I'm not gonna hold anyone any longer. That's the entire thing. That's it. I think we talk about Sephiroth for a long while here. I don't know if it helped any of you. Hopefully it does. But yeah, that is more or less my take on it. Hopefully it turns okay. I'm kind of being a little bit optimistic by it because most of the changes I'm okay with them. The only one I don't like is the Heaven Slide one, but I'm really concerned about that one. Hopefully that one is not that bad, because it's hard to tell with that nerf until I play myself, which I will have to wait a month with. So yeah, if you guys want to like contact me, you can either talk to me on Twitter. I put like all the stuff below. On Reddit as well. I'm on 3 Discords right now. If you want to talk to any of them, either the European Discord, the network, or the World Engine, which is my personal one, you can talk to me there. And hopefully this will inspire a couple of people, or maybe help them with Sephiroth stuff. If you want more information about Sephiroth, or like anything about the game in general, just ask me and I will try to answer you. Okay. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you if there's ever a next one. I don't know. This one took me a while. Holy shit. But yeah. Bye bye everyone.